Based on the circumstances surrounding Mr. Beaumont's assault charge, I'd say he was the kind of man who would have wanted to protect Wally, not hurt him and certainly not kill him.
Well, from what I saw of Mr. Beaumont's behavior at the crime scene and at the morgue, he would have to be a supremely talented actor. He was on an emotional roller coaster.
Könnte Gary auch für die früheren Morde verantwortlich sein?
Maybe. For a serial killer, murder is an addiction. Recovery requires a lifelong commitment to some deliberate strategy of behavior modification. And unfortunately, there is no 12-step program for cold-blooded killing. So serial killers usually stop when they're caught or they die. In my professional opinion, if Gary Beaumont is a serial killer, it's difficult to believe that he just decided one day to stop cold turkey.
You're probably right, Ray, but I still think we should bring him in just in case. Cover all the bases. And if Beaumont's been such a loyal customer all these years, maybe Marcelle knows where he likes to hang out when he's not at the cabaret.
Okay. Dann reden wir vielleicht mit Marcelle, aber erstmal wollte ich... Haben wir irgendwas in den Notizen? Nee, ne? Ich meine, wirklich lesen kann ich die Notizen jetzt auch nicht, aber gut. So. Gut, dann reden wir mal mit unserem Verdächtigen. Ich möchte mit Floyd Collister sprechen.
I'll bring him right up to interrogation.
So, wir suchen nach Gary Beaumont.
Gary? You think Gary had something to do with this?
We just want to ask him a few more questions, that's all.
Gary's harmless. I mean, he's a pain in the ass because he's always just hanging around needing attention, but he couldn't really hurt anybody, I don't think. He gets thrown out of some places because he's awkward, a little strange. Sometimes he smells, but it's... he's homeless. I wanted to help him, but I never really had the time, you know? I mean, I didn't bother him when I found him pretty much living in the alley behind the club.
Alter, dieser Psychoblick, ich krieg Gänsehaut davon. Das ist krass animiert. Beziehungsweise vielleicht auch schlecht, aber dann im positiven Sinne wieder in der Auswirkung. Sie sind in einer alten Fallakte aufgetaucht.
Marcelle, were you aware that back in 1975, Floyd Collister was on a list of suspects in the Barber Street murders?
Yes, Floyd used to get into a lot of trouble with the police. He was a hooker and he took drugs. But, like I said, that's not the real reason why the police thought he was a deviant. Anyway, that's all water under the bridge now, isn't that right? He cooperated fully, as I recall, answered all the questions. They let him go, and after that, I decided that Floyd should move on, and he did.
If I told you that out of the 4 male prostitutes that were identified as possible suspects back then, you're the only one left alive, what would you say to that?
Ma'am, you're wrong. They're all dead.
Noch etwas, das wir wissen sollten?
I'm sorry, but I really have nothing more to say to you.
Gut, dann schauen wir uns mal die Gasse hinter Marcells an. Ja, Las Vegas in seiner luxuriösen Sicht. Oder Ansicht. Gary. Gary.
Hey, what's going on?
Classic cork, huh? Gary, for a homeless guy, you sure have expensive taste in booze.
Das gefällt mir so gar nicht.
Not exactly a 4-star hotel.
Oh, was haben wir aber da denn?
It's a love letter to Wally. From Gary.
Okay, mein Guter. Es ist traurig, dass du da so leben musst, auf jeden Fall.
Hand over the bottle, Gary.
Yeah, of course, here. Well, what's wrong? Why are you looking at me like that, huh?
Okay, wir haben eine zusätzliche Flasche. Ah, Moment. Wir können die ja bestimmt... Jawohl. Fingerabdrücke.
That's just where Gary was holding the bottle.
Finden wir jetzt vielleicht die Übereinstimmung, die wir vorher nicht hatten? So. Ich möchte mit Ihnen über einen Gerichtsbeschluss reden. Ne, Moment, das wollen wir ja nicht. So. Noch nicht zumindest. Oh, was haben wir denn hier? Ui.
It would have taken at least this much alcohol to kill Beganowski.
Auszeichnung freigeschaltet.
What do you think? We'll need to process it. Could have been used to tie up our victim.
Oh, oh, oh. Ist sie nicht früher hier hinten nachgucken? Normalerweise wird doch die ganze Umgebung eines Tatortes abgesucht.
Nothing but weeds.
Weed, weed, weed. Gut, dann ab ins Labor. Auf und davon. Oh, die Gasse haben wir jetzt auch schon durch. Interessant. Ich glaube aber, dass dieser Fall der komplexeste werden könnte von allen. Und noch lange, lange nicht zu Ende ist. Nee, Moment halt. Ach, genau. Fingerabdrücke wollte ich doch. So und so. Oh mein Gott, Sie haben ein bisschen was zu erklären.
Gary practically lives at the club and he found Beganowski's body, but I have no idea why his prints would be on a case of booze nowhere near the crime scene.
Der Beschluss bei Brass ist verfügbar. Und dann wollen wir ihn doch mal abholen und mit Gary ein wenig uns unterhalten.
Yeah?
Wir brauchen einen Haftbefehl für Gary Beaumont.
What evidence do we have?
What evidence do we have? We have a fingerprint. Warum rede ich Englisch auf einmal?
The problem here is I don't see how these things are connected.
Ach,
What do you need? I'm gonna need to see some evidence before I go to a judge.
wir hätten doch... Da, die Flasche wollte ich. Ich habe die falsch erwischt, Mann.
Come on, let's get serious. I'm not gonna wake up a judge for that.
Och, das darf jetzt nicht dein... wenn die Statistik deswegen leidet, ne?
Yeah? I'll see what I can do. Show me the evidence.
Och. Ich bin manchmal bedeppert, ne?
Gary's got access to the club, and that bottle of classic cork might as well be a smoking gun, right? You bet we're bringing him in.
I'll have Ray join you in interrogation. I think this is right up his alley.
So, Ray, dann hilf uns mal mit Gary.
Mr. Beaumont, we found your fingerprints on a case of whiskey in Marcel's club.
What can I say? I saw the case on the floor. It was already open. I needed it. My hands, they were shaking so bad. I just needed that drink so badly.
But Gary, that was the same whiskey used to poison Mr. Beganowski.
What? I just needed a drink. I didn't use it to kill Wally.
Warum sagten Sie uns nicht, dass Sie hinter dem Club geschlafen haben?
Makes us think you're keeping other things from us.
No, it's not like I always sleep there. I try to stay at the shelter, but sometimes it's full, so I have to stay where I don't bother anybody.
Dieses Thema mit den Obdachlosen ist eigentlich ein sehr trauriges Thema und ein Problem, das wir auch haben. Ich habe ja in der Regenfolge das schon mal angesprochen, die Obdachlosen, die in diesen Fluttunneln leben und dort sehr gefährlich leben, wenn einer der wenigen 3-4 Regentage des Jahres geschieht, wo in sinnflutartigen Strömen das Wasser da durchprescht und da einige auch sterben können. Eigentlich es ist traurig, dass Menschen überhaupt auf der Straße leben müssen. Und auch wie die Leute in verschiedenen Kulturen damit umgehen. In Japan zum Beispiel, wie die Leute sich selbst auch dafür schämen. Na gut, bleiben wir beim Fall. Wir brauchen eine DNA-Probe von Ihnen.
Open your mouth, please.
Yes, of course.
Es lag wahrscheinlich am Alkoholgeruch. Hatten Sie einen Grund, Mr. Biganowski zu töten?
What? Of course not. I had no reason to be mad at Wally.
Gehört die Schürze im Müll Ihnen? Ihn?
Why would I have an apron? Doesn't make sense. I'd never even seen that apron before.
Wir wissen von Ihrer Anzeige wegen Körperverletzung 1975.
That was so long ago. What does that have to do with anything?
We just want to ask you a few questions.
I'm not answering any questions until you can give me even one reason why you think I would want to kill Wally.
Gut. Schauen wir uns die Beweise noch mal ein wenig an. Wir haben die Schürze und wir haben den Brief. Der Brief, der die unerwiderte Liebe von Gary zum Opfer beklagt. Das wäre ein Grund.
I had no reason to be mad at Wally.
Doch einen gewissen Grund hattest du.
We found your letter to Wally. You had some real feelings for him.
Too bad. He just wasn't that into you, huh? Gosh, I know how that can hurt, right? Makes you wish you could sit him down and just talk. Maybe tie him down so he doesn't go anywhere while you're sharing all those real feelings. Maybe try to change his mind a little with a drink or two or three. Or hell, maybe the whole damn bottle, huh? Isn't that pretty much how it went down, Gary?
No, it wasn't like that at all. I loved Miss A. I loved her so much.
Let's all just calm down for a second. Why didn't you give Miss A the letter?
I just wanted to write down my feelings. For once in my life, I wanted to be honest with myself. She knew how I felt about her. I told her. I said, I love you. And she looked at me, kind of puzzled, and said, it must be so nice to be able to say those words and mean them. And then she walked away from me. I wasn't even sure what she meant, but I had my answer. We would always just be friends. And I could live with that.
That's a lovely story, Gary, but will a jury believe it? If you're innocent, you better start answering our questions. All of them.
Okay, I'll tell you whatever you want.
Reden wir über 1975. Sie haben Lon Muskie angegriffen.
4 months later, Muskie's found dead in his car off Barber Street.
Lon Muskie, is that his name? I never asked. Sure, I beat him up, but he deserved it. He would take my friends out on dates, and they would come back bruised, sometimes bleeding. I wanted to teach him how to treat a lady in a language he would understand, but I didn't try to kill him. He should have gone to jail, but that detective, she let him go. But what can you expect, huh? You guys look out for each other, and I can't blame you.
What do you mean, we look out for each other? Do you mean we cops look out for each other? Muskie wasn't a cop.
No, you guys, you know, black people. I'm sorry, I mean African Americans. Oh, now I've gone and put my foot in my mouth. Well, that's what happened, okay? That black lady detective showed up and let him go.
Können Sie mir die Beamtin beschreiben? Ups, da bin ich jetzt an meinen Tisch hier gestoßen. Nicht, dass mir am Ende irgendwas runterfällt. Monitor, clear, Shepard, kaputt, nicht gut.
I don't remember exactly what she looked like. I remember that her badge surprised me. I'd never seen a black woman detective before.
Wait a second, you're saying Detective Juarez Briggs knew this guy and just let him go because she was black and he was black? Is that the load of bull you're trying to sell us about one of the most distinguished officers this department has ever known?
Please, I'm only telling you what I remember. I'm not making anything up, I swear. Maybe it wasn't just a black thing. Come to think of it, the way they argued, maybe they knew each other. She did say she was giving him a ride home. I think. It was a really long time ago.
Setting aside Mr. Beaumont's racial insensitivities, I think we need to take a better look at Detective Briggs' involvement in all of this.
You want to know what I think? I think this guy's a lying sack.
Sind Sie sicher, dass Sie Lon Muskie angegriffen haben?
This is a photograph of Lon Muskie from the Barber Street murders case file. Is this the man you assaulted?